Hello, hello, hello. Any of these nerds know how to read a clock? No, Mike. They stopped teaching children how to read analog clocks back in 1986.
What?
It is time for the educational show. How's everybody doing?
Doing okay.
Oh shit, I can't hear you. Hold on.
Can I be heard anywhere else? I will not be silenced.
Not
Yeah,
this shit
StreamYard's
again.
picking me up, so that's all right.
Hold on.
I
For
just
some
wasted
fucking reason.
a whole bunch of minutes trying to figure out how to convert .mov to .mp4, and I forgot to do the posts. Hold on.
All right, let's see. There he is. There he
What
is.
are we
There he
looking
is.
at? Yeah? You found it?
Got it.
Cool. Yeah, so
Yeah.
one of the first things I figured we could educate on is how to convert .mov to MP4. That would be useful.
.mov to MP4.
But hold on, I have to finish doing the posts and shit because I wasted a lot of time trying to fix that.
That's okay. Dang, you boys both looking good tonight. Thank you, Mike. I like this shirt, man. It's one of these like ultra thin like fishing / hunting shirts. You know what I
I
mean?
got one of those. Those are nice.
Yeah, right though.
Does it have the vent flap in the shoulder blades
the
too?
the huge vent flip.
Yeah, dude. I think mine's an Ariat. What's yours?
From Goodwill.
Perfect.
Cost
Hey, I got it.
$3.
I got a fucking pair of shoes from Goodwill for $8, and then when I looked at them on eBay, they're like $300.
Yeah. So let's see. Today's education. I decided I was thinking it over, and I was like, you know, what's something we talk a lot about? We talk a lot about like weapons and history and stuff like that, and how so much of this stuff is formed by habit, right? By like things we see in the present that were formed in the past. And how much of that is just due to either... Sorry, my sons have been in here. I don't know if they've been fucking with my setup. But how much of that is either due to like historical context or why it's happening at the time? You know what I mean? And we have some really cool shit as far as like knives go. As far as knives go, there's so much history behind them, and how much each are you gonna be in here for the show? Okay. How much each different culture treats knives. And
So I have to go to a website and upload the MOV file and then re-download it as MP4. I can't just change the
if
address.
the original file you downloaded is MOV,
Yeah.
like is it is it your file or
No,
is
it's off of the VT Network drive. It's the show start video. And I can't like change it when I download it from Drive to download as MP4. It only downloads as MOV.
Oh, okay.
That's how you guys can tell if I started the StreamYard up is if there's no show start video, it's because I had to start it.
Try it and it won't share it with it as an MOV.
No, I put on there add video and it says has to be MP4. I'm like, well, you don't gotta be so rude about it.
Has to be. God, chill. Fuck.
At least that's how the text looked when I seen it because it gave me capital letters, all caps. I'm like, why are you shouting right now?
Why are you yelling at me? What is it? MOV?
Yeah, it's an MOV.
Needs to go to MP4.
Well, I mean, pretty soon we won't have to worry about it, especially by next week's Friday show. So I'm not too concerned with it right now either.
There you go. Anyways, so different cultures have different knives, and each one of them has a different kind of context and why and how it's used. And one of my favorite fucking ones is the early Viking knife called the sax. Also known as the sex. And this is how
It's like your most basic knife, but it's so useful.
It is so weirdly specific. And it is such a different shape. And that's kind of like what I love about it, like how different the shape is compared to other historical knives. Because other historical knives, they'll have bends in them, they have different ways, clip points, drop points, Bowie knives. They all have a very distinct sweeping feature to them. Not
Yeah.
the fucking Viking knife. The fucking Viking knife is like, allow me to just chop you off at the ankles. Rainbow knife with a compass on the butt of the handle that you can keep warm.
Okay,
I mean,
see,
that's
those
one.
ones I don't trust because most of them are made out of like the handle's cheap aluminum. You get them for like $10 at Harbor Freight, and they fall apart instantly. They're almost impossible to sharpen, and once you do, they won't hold their edge. The best thing about them is the fact that you can keep your cigarettes fairly dry in the handle.
What, you don't stomach them like solid fucking snake?
Well, until I get, an anti-freezing peptide in my stomach acids that also suppress the effect of my stomach acids, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Oh no. Anyways, so this is a Viking sex, or sex, depending on how you want to say it. These knives were so rudimentary because they did everything with these knives. All right, they cut rope, animal, each other, enemies. It didn't fucking matter. This knife was meant to be utilitarian. Everything about this knife was built to be used in some capacity or another. You can see here the different forms of handles as they progress throughout the ages, because this is a more modern handle. But as you can tell from here, where we go, there it is right there. That is a very basic design. Even it doesn't even have any forward stop for your fingers, so in case you slide forward, you still cut your hand open. However, this fucking thing, we know historically because we have all the documents for it. This fucking thing was so utilitarian and so used with everything and for everything that this even transcended a couple of generations. When they started dealing with the English sax, the English actually adopted their own version of the sax, and so did the Spanish. That's how like utilitarian these knives were.
I like it because it's kind of like a Spay Point had a baby with like a Warrenclyffe shaped knife, and you got that,
Yeah. So this is the English version of it. This is what the English came out when they started using the sax design or the sax design. So this is their version of this. Notice that really, really steep clip point, but this time it's not going the other way around. The edge is not on the back, but actually where we would expect most knife blades to be. But it still has that thin design, that thin handle with no finger stop, and this is because this was everything. This was your shovel. This was your flint lighter. This was, a cork to stop a leak in the boat. Everything you could think of, this knife did, and they did it with a lot of them. So, one of the coolest fucking knives in history, man. And I love talking about it, and I love looking at it. And when I see shows like Forged in Fire, and they're like, you need to make a traditional Viking sax, and I'm like, okay, traditional according to whom? There's a lot of fucking traditions there, bro. I mean,
my favorite is when it's like, all right, for my final build, I'm gonna build a traditional Japanese katana, and I was like, are you? You don't have time for that.
you don't have that kind of time.
You can get yourself a bunch of garbage iron and just hammer it out for 6 months. Like you don't have time for that.
You don't have that kind of time. Mm-mm.
No, you're gonna go get a leaf spring off of an old Ford work truck, and you're just gonna cut the shape and fucking temper it.
Yeah, you're gonna grind it out. It's pretty much stock removal,
Yeah. I think it was like it was definitely the first season. It was one of the first few episodes. The guy was like, I'm going to make the katana. And he was one of those weebs that just dressed like he was Japanese, but he's not. And he
I
was
think
like,
I know who you're talking
And he was
about.
like, and now to get that signature curve, we're going to dip it in water. I was like, you're going to break your shit. And then he dips it in the water tank, in the fish tank, and he goes,
yeah, you just hear
I'm like, idiot.
Like I remember I started watching that fucking show with my girlfriend, and the second he was like, "Now to get this curve, we're gonna dip it in water. Cold water is best for this kind." And I was like, "No."
He's lucky he didn't just get the D-lambs just peeling right off the edges.
He's
dude.
lucky the goddamn thing didn't spring back.
Yeah.
Like in all fucking reality, let's face it, the way he dipped in the blade.
Yeah, he
Like,
dipped it like this into the water.
Yeah, it could have. If there was a fault there, it could have easily fucking. You know what I mean? And
It could have exploded. Tiny little pieces of steel all over the place.
Yeah,
Like-
you know, and like
Because didn't it even? I think it might have sent out pieces of steel. Because didn't it crack the aquarium if I remember it correctly?
yeah, because he heated the aquarium too quickly.
Yeah. It's like, what an idiot. I've studied Japanese tradition for 26 years. I'm like, apparently you didn't do good enough. Okay, just because you got a waifu pillow and you eat pocky every day doesn't mean you studied their traditions.
Yeah, no. And this is the Spanish version of the 6. Once again,
Oh, that's a good looking chef's knife down there, though, on the right. In
Yeah,
the shop for familiar. No, that one with the dark handle.
This one.
Yeah. Can we see that real quick?
Well, let me get past this. So it has once again that really hard clip, but the blade is on where it's supposed to be, and once again it is one-handed. So a lot of people adopted what was supposed to be the $66. That's not
Oh,
bad.
that's not bad. What is it? Custom handmade carbon steel chef knife with raisin handle-free leather sheath. It still can't beat my chef's knife. Hold on.
Anyways. So what's funny is that we're going all the way back to the sex, and there's a reason for it. The sex was developed very early, and is actually one of the like more distinctive designs of knives that we can actually think of historically. Because a lot of people have a lot of knives, right? Like you have one-handed. Are there two-handed knives? Yes, there are. Is that
I fucking love this knife, dude.
it
You've
the
seen
Michael?
it. This is my Michael Myers knife.
Yeah.
This is the only chef's knife I use pretty much in the kitchen. Every once in a while I'll use a paring knife from Forged in Fire. But I'm thinking about throwing it away because my ex-wife bought me that knife. But this is
Give it to
it
me.
used to be a 10-inch French chef's knife. But since it's the only one I use, I don't know if you can tell, but like the handle is deforming to fit just my hand.
That's pretty cool.
So, like how I hold it like this, like the handle deforms just to fit my hand. So this is my knife, man. It is friggin' sharp too. I love it. It used to be 10 inches. Now I think it's closer to like 9.5.
Just grinded it down.
Well, sharpening it up and everything. But I love it. It's got a hickory handle on it. The handle's got a crack in it, which kind of sucks, but it doesn't change the effectiveness of it.
No. I was trying to think
It's
of the other.
perfectly balanced, though, dude. Look at this. I'm trying to say nice things about you. Cooperate.
That's not bad.
So for cutting, this is fucking great.
So, the thing is, talking about knives and how iconic they are, there are few knives in this world that are more iconic than the Kukri. And the Kukri is
That's what they issued to Filipino Marines.
The Kukri is a vicious knife. And these knives are made to destroy. There's no other fucking way to put
Well, they're
it.
made for chopping down like sugar cane and stuff, dude. So of course they're gonna go through bones, no problem.
So this is a more or less a traditional kukri, and this is known as the belly of the blade. This is the spine. I'm sorry. Hold on. This is the belly of the blade. This is the spine, and this is the inside curve of the blade. So where you have finger grooves and all this other stuff, but all this leather sheath right here was meant to. This knife was meant to go through shit. You know what I mean? Like you have another more traditional one right here, and this is another one, and it has that signature 3 spikes, the trident of Poseidon, because this was also used as a fishing knife. So weirdly enough, so these knives, the Kukri, look at this. Look at this. This is the British Gurkha.
Mm-hmm.
This was issued to Indian soldiers when the British still had control of India.
And that's
So this is known
actually
as the
where
Gurkha.
that's actually where that knife originated too, was Gurkha.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat.
And these fucking knives will take a hand off. They'll take a limb off. They'll cut through almost anything because these things are so cheaply and well made. And the way that the belly works with the knife, this right here is your sweet spot. This is your taking stuff off level right here. Like that right there, that'll take almost anything off. And this stuff right here, this is if you swing too early or if you swing too late, this catches what you're supposed to be cutting and runs it along the blade. So if you mind not watching videos while I'm trying to do a show? Sorry. Thank you. So that's known as a belly, and it's known as a catch. And this stuff really does work to take your arm off, or your leg, or sugarcane, or fish, or whatever. Kind of lopsided, but you know what, Mike? Mike, go on Amazon. Spend
That
10,
knife is
$15.
kind of lopsided because it's made for swinging.
Yeah, spend 10, $15 and go get one and just have fun with it out in the woods. Even the flared handle right here, as you can tell, this was meant to catch your fingers and your palm. So that if you swung, like, it wouldn't go flying out of your hands. So that's that nice palm swell so that you can grip onto it. And these knives are just fucking amazing. And it is one of the oldest knife designs in history, aside from like clip points and buoys and stuff like that. But this is literally one of the most iconic knives in history. Flared base. And here's even one with a Spartan type handle on it. And
Why does it have a Marines logo on it?
your guess is as good as mine, dude. You know how they sell this shit. They put military branch names on it and just try to sell it to the nearest person. But this is actually an older design of the Kukri. This is for straw, and this is one that they just extended out to 20 inches. But these blades are so iconic. A lot of times that if somebody was wielding one, I love this shape right here. This is called a Recurve Blade right here. This is called a Recurve Blade, just simply because it curves and then curves again. But this is one of my favorite blade shapes. There was a kind of a saying when you were going up against the Gurkha and against the British English forces in India, that if you saw somebody with one of these knives, your best bet was to surrender or run away, because they're about to take pieces of you. Like, not even joking. Let's take a look at this one here. This is a more modernized take on it, as you can tell. See, and you have a segmented blade here. This is that belly that catches stuff. You got a stabbing mechanism right here, or a break point, and then you got that nice long...
That was a great movie.
Yeah, and you got that nice long catch right here. And then
Yeah,
over
you
here,
do.
you got your serrations for your fingers, your finger grooves, and that's where your thumb goes. Now,
So the way that looks, it looks like the break point, the main blade, and then the catch, or the break point, the main blade, and the curve, the fucking
belly.
the belly, and then the inside curve. It looks like they're all sharpened at different angles. Does that mean they're different sharpnesses or different toughnesses?
This means that these are meant for different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So this right here, as you can see, this is how this is cut out versus how this is beveled out. Everyone likes a nice long catch. Hello, fish. Hi, baby. This is beveled out because this is a more of a chisel cut, which means that it's going to be more like an axe. So this is where your utility comes in.
And that's where all the mass is. That would make the most sense.
So if you want to chop wood, if you want to go in like bone or, decapitate a fish, this is where you aim the blade.
The best place to cut the fish is right where the tail starts to fin out. Then you can hang it from the mouth, drain all the blood out. You'll have nice white fish meat ready for when you go to fillet it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the educational show, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. No, and to take the head off and to take the tail off, you use this part of this knife.
I don't know. I'm
And this
Filipino.
part,
You're lucky if we even open it up to cook it.
and this part of the knife, this belly, this is what you use for everything else. This is what you use for whittling, for dry run, for splitting, for batoning, for everything else that's going to matter, such as string or anything else. You use the belly or the catch itself, not the belly. The catch itself is where you are going to operate the little stuff. Because in combat, it doesn't matter if you swing with this intent or with this intent. That whatever gets caught in here is going to run past this.
You're gonna use the whole blade anyway if you're fighting for your life.
It's going to go through. And the way that they're trained is that they're trained to cut through. That's why they got that thumbprint right here on the back. So that's meant to cut through. You drive with your thumb, and you go for the extremities, the fingers, the neck, the eyes, the cheeks, and that's one of the ways that this knife is just so extremely powerful and so extremely fucking iconic. And my favorite version of this knife happens to be a conversion point of it. And I think it is my favorite one. So let's go to... Let me see if I can find it. So this is the Book of Eli Machete. And as you can see, this is a Kukri design. Here he wrapped the cord and waxed it on both ends, and there's that big finger catch right there, so that he doesn't slip out of his palm. And he even put a finger catch on the front so he doesn't slide forward when he's stabbing. And all of this is waxed and corded. But this was all designed with a purpose. This was designed to catch, once again, the belly for swinging, and even these holes serve a purpose. These are blood holes or bleed holes. These are so when you stab into something wet and squishy, your blade doesn't get stuck. You can pull that out due to the aeration. So this is my favorite version of the Kukri right here. And I love this. I love the simplicity of it. I love the effectiveness of it. I love the idea that in the movie he cuts off that bandit's hand in just one swipe. He said, "You put your hand on me, you're not going to get it back." And he's, is that right? Puts his hand just like that. And what does he do? Draws it, and he cuts it just like that, just in an arc. Gets him in the catch, not the belly. Just one swipe, right across. And unlike many knives in history, the Kukri is one of the only knives you can't reverse grip. Simply because the fucking blade is not meant to be swung like that. So that is that is another interesting thing about the Kukris, is that they're not meant for reverse grip, like, at all. So let me see, I just saw this. See, and right here we have a perfect example of where he hit it. He hit the guy right above the catch, right below the belly. So right there, that is that perfect spot to literally sever something. That's that perfect spot. Right on that blade. Because he didn't have to.
I liked that movie up until the end, when then all of a sudden Mila Kunis thought she was tough because she walked with him for like a week.
I'm just glad they didn't make another.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect example of where to hit to sever, and this was one clean swipe, right through the wrist bones, right through the, what are they called, metacarpals?
Yeah. Well, these would be the carpals, and then the metacarpals are actually out here.
So, just right through all that bone, and just one clean swipe. So, and he hit it perfect. So, this is just, I love.
And he did all that
fucking
without
movie.
looking too.
I mean, so let's move up a little bit more in history. What's a really good famous knife in history? Right past the Kukri, which started in the 14 to 1700s.
Karambit.
The Karambit. Once again, made famous in many movies, including one of my favorites, The Man from Nowhere.
I was gonna say Uncharted.
Boo. I'm just kidding.
Just the fact that in the movie Uncharted, the Spaniard gets killed by a traditional Filipino weapon just closes that circle.
just makes it better for you, huh?
Yeah, because he's on his way to go back to the Philippines and steal their gold,
Steal
like
more
Spaniards
gold?
do.
Hey, we stashed it there. Okay, we stashed it there. It was our goal to begin with.
No,
We were just renting the land for free.
no,
by
that was your
force.
payment. That was your payment for injecting Catholicism into otherwise unbothered people.
I mean, who the fuck am I to disagree? You know. But here we go. The Karambit, one of the most iconic knives. Again, just something that was made to be a tool until it was taken. Hey, Danny from Dark Charm Media. One of my favorites has been the Scottish Dirk. We'll check out the Scottish Dirk in just a little bit. But this was meant originally for, I think, cane and corn, if I'm not mistaken.
It's really hard to tell what it was originally for because it was like Chinese when it first started, and they based it off of the shape of a tiger's teeth and claws, so they could get
Yeah.
like the most ripping out of it. But let's see, let's find out.
So this, however, is one of the deadliest knives when it comes to actually hand-to-hand combat and hand-to-hand conflict. This Kukri knife, the reason it's shaped like that of nature is that curved shape to it makes sure that whatever you hit and rip and pull, it's gonna cut, and it's gonna cut to the bone with not a lot of
Designed
effort.
for not so much corn and stuff, but it was designed for threshing, taking roots, and gathering and planting rice. We can talk about
So-
humble farm boy origins.
Yeah, and then it goes into one of the most violent and effective weapons of all time. So this is, and once again, the Kukri has been made. The Karambit has been made popular by, of course, popular media. You got CS:GO making it popular. You also have the Man from Nowhere. Like I said, most anything involving Filipinos in some aspect or another is going to have Karambit, because there's this. Because there's been this weird mysticism built around those that do the Filipino martial arts when it comes to Karambits.
You talking about Doug?
No, not Doug Marcaida. Doug Marcaida does his best to demystify everything.
Doug's kind of a badass, though.
Yeah, no. He's actually like the opposite of that. Like he does his best to demystify all the bullshit revolving like around Filipino stick fighting and knife
I
fighting.
actually have a drywall knife that I bought just because it reminded me of a Karambit.
These are good knives. These knives with not a lot of effort because they're. He's gonna go get more stuff. He's got more props because of the way they were designed and the way that they're shaped. Can take pieces of flesh with very, very little effort, and this is one of the reasons that they're one of the most deadliest.
Just because it has a finger hole in it, I'd be like working on one of the houses, and just out of nowhere, I'd be like, "Yeah, all right, get to work."
Break over. Now, I am very much against like the mysticism that so many, martial artists have put around this and put around the Filipino style of fighting when it comes to the Karambit, because I'm what they call an ice pick fighter. Everyone's love is a finger hole. Thank you, baby. I am what they call an ice pick fighter, even though it's one of the stupidest fucking terms I've ever heard for that style. It is a reverse grip knife style, and that is how I fight with a knife. And it's one of the most effective, but it also makes me very, very uniquely qualified to work with a Karambit. The only problem is I got big, meaty fucking hands, and I could never find a Karambit built for big, meaty fucking hands.
At least none that are any good. There's plenty like rainbow colored ones at the flea market.
Oh yeah, we just
You
passed
get
one.
them for like $14.
Yeah. And once again, as you see, there's modernized designs, there's old designs, there's these designs right here that we turned a wrench into a finger hole, and you even got this one right here. So the look at this thing. Karambits are very, very, very dangerous knives. They do require work to utilize. Never mistake that. Like any weapon you're gonna own, these things take work, and these things take work to master and to deal with, and especially not to cut your own goddamn thumb off. You know what I mean? Like there are things that you use in daily
Or slice your own forearm open and just bleed out right there.
Try not to do that, please.
Because the first thing anybody does when you give them a knife with a finger hole in it, oh, look at that.
But the thing is that these were like those finger holes were meant to actually, like nunchucks, they were meant to spin around, knock weed off, do stuff like that, and it's just really fucking cool when you see the utilization go from utilitarian to defense and combat. So, got to keep up. Got to take up blacksmithing as a hobby just to make a Karambit big enough for dead man. I would pay you for that, baby. Shit, the pointer in the hole, not the pinky. Mike was going at that bitch with a fucking butter knife. He was like, all right, I'm gonna get all y'all bitches. Who wants butter?
Well, see, that's the thing too, though. Like there is, a tactic for like flipping it from,
There is.
blade down to blade up and blade forward to blade back.
And most of the time, that's a deterrent. So, like if you were to have that blade coming out like this, and you were fighting someone, you would reach like you're gonna punch it, but then flip the blade out, and get that blade swinging on their knuckles, on their hands, on their extremities, their faces, their eyes. So you would swing it out like that as an extension of your own hand, kind of like a yo-yo. You would flick it out, and then.
Well, no, I mean like switching from blade down to blade up, but handle still firm. Like
yeah, so no one else. No, then so the other way around though is the same exact thing. So like when you
I've
have that,
tried it though, like it just feels so Mickey Mouse having the spike come out the top like that. I'm like, how am I supposed to be effective at slashing quickly with the blade out the top? Get off my yard! Because moving your wrist down is a lot less natural of pulling your wrist back. Like
well, again, so like the way you fight also is also every part of the Karambit is meant to be fought with. Every part of this, the back of the blade, this knuckle duster right here, that's meant to strike. That's going for someone's cheek, for someone's forehead, someone's eyes, someone's hands. You strike them with that, and that is a striking mechanism. So even holding it reverse grip in this instance, which is the blade on top, you're not gonna be like Mike trying to go after the peanut butter and jelly and shit like that. You're actually gonna be using this in a thrusting and cutting manner. So you're gonna be going for clean cuts. You're going to go downward cuts. You're going to go upwards cuts. You're even going to go J cuts or C cuts, going all the way around. You're going to be going for extremities, arteries, ligaments. So that's what this knife is, and why it's one of the most effective knives in history. And it is brutal. However, you need some training with it. You're not going to pick this up and be like, I'm a ninja. You're gonna lose a finger like that.
That's why I got the book and the rubber knife at the same time.
Yeah. And now the Scottish Dirk. I like saying Dirk. Hey, come get this Dirk.
Shut up, Dirk.
Made you a special Dirk.
I don't know. Whenever I hear that word, I think of Team America World Police.
I think of that chick on TikTok, but so this is the Scottish Dirk, and this is one of the
love Dead Man Forever.
Thank you, Mike. So the Scottish Dirk is one of the most interesting knives I've ever come across, and then run to Argentina. God damn it, Mike! One of the most interesting knives I've ever seen, and especially when it comes to implementing it in combat, simply because of the single-handed use of it. Like, as you can tell, it would bury my phone. As you can tell from this one-handed nature of what this is supposed to be, it doesn't look very comfortable. But that's because everything about this knife,
It's really elegant looking, though.
everything about this knife was meant to do some significant way of damage and control. So you have this saw back here, and that's for going underneath the wrist and going into the wrist bones at the back of the hand, or even into the guard of somebody else's knife or sword. The blade itself is pointed in a way that goes through soft armor or soft mail armor, even cotton armor and leather armor. This thing was meant to be thrusted. It is a deadly weapon up close.
Hey, that's what we can do for the makeup show. We'll talk about armor.
Yeah, we'll talk about
I'm
armor.
gonna write that down.
And
Did you see the video I sent you about throwing knife versus leather armor?
yeah, I watched it, and the noise that poor piece of steel makes when he fucks that first throw, I'm just like, take this away from him. But what's weird is that just like the Viking sex, which is where this is also derived from, this was also utility and kind of went with everything. As you can see here, this was a meal knife. They used this to cook. They used this to skewer food. They used this to catch animals, catch prey, skin, as well as fight. And it's one of the most interesting sets of knives because you'll often find it historically with this little knife and fork combo. And this is your main tool because these Scottish these dirks were meant to be abused, and they're really fucking cool. And I learned how to fight with them. I learned how to fight with them when I was really young, and I think it was one of the weirdest just feelings to hold that handle because once again I got big fucking ham fists. You know what I mean? So like trying to grip a handle that's made for people that were usually around 5'8", 5'9", you know. It's not good. It's not good.
I'm dead, man. I'm big.
No, it sucks because I love like when I was learning how to use the Iqua or the Eclis from Africa. It's a hold on, I'll bring it up. Hold on.
What's that one Persian sword? It's like the kukri, but it curves the other way.
The scimitar?
Yeah, that's the word. I knew it was something tar, but I knew it wasn't sitar, and I knew it wasn't vivitar, and I was like, "What the fuck is it?" Yeah, that one. That one's kind of cool too.
So this is the Iqua, and this is something else I learned how to fight with, and it's not that I'm dead man, I'm big. It's that they make these with the standard traditional sizes, and this is about 36 to 38 inches usually. So when my big ass gets a hold of it, it kind of looks small. And this was one of Shaka Zulu's favorite weapons. Killed a lot of people in Africa. Was a very very offensive weapon. You actually see it, a version of it, in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. And once again, like I learned how to fight with this, but these are just really cool because they're made for certain people and certain traditions, like the Japanese katana. For somebody my size, a proper katana would be 36 to 37 inches, even though the katanas were usually anywhere between 30 and 32 inches, because that's what the average height in person was, the one that wielded it. What was the name of the double-bladed knife Chavez used in Young Guns 2? Always thought it was badass. Which one? He uses a lot of knives. Let me see. Let me see if I can get a clean picture of it.
Okay, what was the question? The double-bladed one. Okay. I mean, did you find the picture? I have the URL. I can send it in the private chat.
Oh, I think I know which one you mean. Well, did you mean this one?
Yeah, that.
This is just a prop. It's just a prop. This is something that looks cool. Like that. It's just a prop. This really has no real historical influence. It just looks really fucking cool. Like it's a shame because as cool as it was, it's the same thing with his buoy, his famous buoy that he uses to spin around and all that. No buoys had those rings on them because there was spinning these things was impractical and kind of stupid. These
There
fucking
is a
things.
sequel to Young Guns?
Yeah, there's Young Guns 1, 2, and 3.
Really? I've
Yeah.
only ever seen the first one.
3's terrible. But yeah, Chavez was like all of this right here. This is all props. This is all media. None of that's practical. Has no real use for it in the real world.
Isn't that Richie Valens?
Do you mean Lou Diamond Phillips?
Richie Valens. Yeah.
Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips. That's what I said.
Freaking La Bamba.
Yeah, don't see 3. Don't see 3. Don't.
I liked the first one.
Fucking don't. Yeah, I love both of them. This is like the tale of William Bonnet and Doc was real.
It was funny because I had never seen it before my ex-wife showed it to me. And then when he was talking about we're regulators, and I was like, oh, regulate the stealing of his property, and we're damn good too, but you can't be any geek off the street. You got to earn your keep, be handy with the steal, if you know what I mean. And then she looks at me, she's like, how do you know that? So obviously I had to play the Nate Dogg song. They even do the regulators.
Regulators,
Mount up.
mount up.
She's like, I've never heard that song. I'm like, and I've never seen this movie.
So whatever, you know,
Perfectly balanced as all
as all
be.
things should be. So yeah, unfortunately, as cool as that fucking knife is, it's just a prop. It's just something that looks cool on camera. That's where Warren G got it. Yep.
Like it was a straight up sample from the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Young Gun
like Young Gun
69.
69.
Nice.
I saw that movie. No, this is the right chat, Mike. We're with you, Bubba. Mwah. Love you.
Don't mind me. I'm just Googling Young Gun 69 in incognito mode real quick.
You know what I mean? So then let's get on to a nice transition here. The fucking Bowie knife. The Bowie knife, fucking Texas toothpick, you know, whatever you want to call it, the Defend the Alamo knife, even though they failed.
Not finding anything.
These fucking Bowie knives, once again, were born. David Bowie, of course, invented the knife. Gave it the fantastical clipped blade or clipped tip. Let me find a good traditional one. So this is called the clip tip, not a drop tip. This is known as a drop tip. This is a clip tip knife with a nice big fat belly and a nice braced spine. And this is your handguard because this was used for knife fighting, but it was also used to cut steaks, baton, firewood, whatever the fuck David Bowie wanted it to be. But he was
John Bowie?
David Bowie.
Are you sure?
Jim Bowie.
Jim Bowie.
Jim Bowie.
See, I was closer.
Jim
I had
Bowie.
a J. I had a J on it. It's like, it is
David-
not the guy who sold the world that made this knife.
All right. I fucked it. Shut up. I got it.
And you fail.
Anyways, Jim Bowie invented this knife and invented this style of knife, and it's because he was kind of a frontiersman. He needed something with a lot of utility, so he invented this to be a skinner, to be what's funny is that as weird as this fucking knife looks and as misbalanced as it looks, this is one of the most successful throwing knives in history.
Well, all the weight's in the front where you need it to be.
And this is the Gil Hibbins Expendables one right here. It's actually a really nice knife. But that clip point on these blades, whenever somebody tries to sell me a Bowie knife and it doesn't have that massive clip right there, like, I don't want it. I'm like, I call you a liar, sir. And these knives gained notoriety just because David Jim Bowie. Just because Jim Bowie was famously known for having this thing. and
You throw it at your feet when you piss him off.
he would do a lot with it. He would do a lot with it, and this is one of the brass back knives that was also based off of one of the original designs. But look at that clip. Look at that clip right in the blade. So this fucking thing was meant for stabbing. You could hunt boar and deer with this. And the way you would do that is you would hide in a fucking tree with this knife in your hand, wait for a boar or deer to come down below you, and fall out of the goddamn tree with a knife and just, yeah! Bowie knife was created by Jim's brother Resin. Is that true? Or are you fucking with me? I'm believing you just everything on face value, Lofus. But this is just one of the deadliest knives in history, and I just love this knife with all my heart. I don't own any current. Well, no, I own one. But it's kind of like a cheap version. I want my Texas toothpick fucking version of this. You know what I mean?
Texas toothpick?
That's
Or
what it's called.
Arkansas toothpick. I guess it's whatever state plus toothpick.
Okay, you're serious. Okay, then that's fucking cool. Well, yeah, it's the Arkansas toothpick, the Texas toothpick, whatever you want to call it, toothpick.
Texas
you know what I mean?
toothpick is... Yeah, that's what I thought. Texas toothpick is a case knife, the little folding knives, dude. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the Arkansas toothpick is based off the Bowie design, the double-sided long,
Yeah, I know.
skinny blade.
But
Yeah.
this is what else they called it.
You know what? I wonder what the hell a Florida toothpick would be.
Meth. So what I pay $123 for this Gibbon knife right here?
I mean, it's really not that bad of a deal. What's the steel made out of? Like,
That's what I'm looking at here.
what alloy is it?
Just a stainless.
No, okay. It's probably like some low carbon, like display only type steel then.
Polished stainless steel. It doesn't give a grade. All right, so
Yeah, so it's a conversation piece.
it's a cool piece.
I would rather see you pay $128 for, one that you can actually use.
One that I will use.
Yeah, not
Something
one that's
like
going to get
this.
chipped up and scratched in the bag of all
at
things
this.
sharp and pointy.
Look at
Like,
this fucking monstrosity. I love this thing right here. This is one of my favorite designs.
the Michigan toothpick is a sewing needle. The Maryland toothpick is a
It's a
crab.
I love that. But yeah, this is the Bowie knives. I love Bowie knives. They're my favorite. This is one of the reasons I started getting into my love of knives. Aside from like the Zelda aspect of just me loving swords and bladed things, but the Bowie knife, just the Bowie knife, and how iconic this fucking thing is, and how well known throughout the earth it is. Like, this is just one of my favorite fucking things.
Well, it got super recognized in the 80s too because of that Australian dude.
Something Hogan,
Yeah, whatever. Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. Mm-hmm. You give him what you got. Why? He's got a knife. That's not a knife. This is a knife.
And how easily he just razor blades through the dude's leather jacket with it.
Dude, like, because you know that shit was fake.
But I know it's possible, though, for the knife to be like that,
Oh, dude, mirror polished? Like,
Yeah.
literally mirror polished fucking Australian AUS 8 steel? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or is it AUS 8 or is it J2? What's the one that's really popular in Australia?
AUS steel is similar to 440. It has a vanadium to give steel more hardness. AUS 8 is very easy to sharpen to a razor edge, but will dull relatively quickly compared to high carbon. Okay.
Stainless steel is a low carbon steel, so yeah, just for show. Daddy's not even here. Yeah, Gibby's not here. Needs to be at least 1095 high carbon to be useful. We agree, Lofus. We know our knives. We just like pretty things too. Look at this, though. Look at this fucking thing. Look at this. And you know what, though? Fucking... Some Aussie pulls that on me when I'm trying to fucking rob him with a switchblade. I'm pretty sure I'd have the same goddamn reaction as that guy. shit myself. Oh, well, I reckon we're gonna have a go then. Holy shit!
Shoot, I don't know the alloys, Mike. I never needed to. I only did structural steel welding mostly. So you send me an I-beam, I fucking weld a plate to it. Everything I've ever done was, as far as I know, mild steel or tempered structural steel. I didn't have to worry about the alloys. I just had to know which rod to use. And 90% of the time, it was a 7018.
Yeah. So yeah, giant fucking buoy. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's probably where most people go when they think Bowie knife, you know?
Yeah, that's not a knife. This is a knife. Yeah, right there.
He just looks so sad.
What did you? You just got fucked by a fucking Aussie, bro. Like, come on. Like, if you just got... there you go. There's one big enough for the dead man.
I don't know. You need that knife that Schwarzenegger has, dude.
Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, the one where he was showing Stallone that Stallone didn't even have a real knife.
What, in the Expendables?
It wasn't in the movie, though. It was
Oh.
like a little YouTube video he made.
Oh, it was a snippet? Okay.
Yeah, hold on. It's 30 seconds long. I don't think Arnie would come at us for 30 seconds.
I mean, he has a kid because of 30 seconds.
Yeah, no?
Just saying.
Yeah, it's because I saw the knife you signed for charity.
Oh, that one. I don't. Stop. I don't. I remember it. I don't remember what it was.
It's the one they use on Predator. A gigantic, like, is it a knife or a machete? You don't know. Because in his hand, it looks like a knife.
All right, so let's check this out real quick. So this is a Gil Hibben. Once again, this is a Gil Hibben survival knife. It has been remade. The original one was supposed to be a Vietnam era survival knife that was, I believe, made for pilots originally.
Yeah, the Rambo knife.
Sly, I just saw your knife that you have signed for charity here in Cardiff. It's unbelievable.
Oh, it's in
Look at
Cardiff.
this knife. But this is not a knife. Now this is a knife. This is what we used on Predator. It's just a little larger than yours. But don't worry about it. In all seriousness, all the best of luck with Rambo.
I like how he tried to do the Aussie accent. Yeah. Failed miserably.
Smash, you're the best.
Imagine hanging out with him for an afternoon, dude.
We'd get a lot of Mexican maids pregnant.
Shit. Me too.
Me too.
And oh man, I bet he smokes the best fucking cigars too.
You can afford it, yeah.
With his fucking stogies. Come on, let's go have stogies in the hot tub.
I'm going to smoke a stogie in the hot tub. You're going to join me. We're going to have a great time, okay? It's not like I'm giving you a choice in the matter. Just come on, let's go. Tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, tell your boyfriend. I don't care. We're going to go hang out, have a few beers, smoke some stogies. What are you looking at me like that for? Make the phone call. Let's go. We have things to do. All right, Arnie. Chill. Anyways.
Man, I can weld everything. MIG, stick, TIG, oxyacetylene. I can braze and solder.
And Yadi too?
But I can't find a woman that's not a narcissist.
Well, red flags always look like a carnival to people like us.
So I'm going to just stick to penetrating my hot rod deep into their gap. Next.
Anyway, that's the show. Thank you guys so much for coming along. We hope you learned something. And made I look like an idiot naming every fucking Bowie but fucking name.
Well, for okay, in all fairness, it's probably been a long time since you watched the Thomas Jane Predator, so Predator, Punisher. Could you imagine Thomas Jane and Predator though?
And you fail.
Not as hard as you.
Still fail. I'll take it. Whatever. But thank you guys so much. We hope you learned something, and we're gonna be back. What tomorrow? You want to do it tomorrow? Or you want to do the makeup show next week?
Actually, I don't know because I'm rehoming Amelia tomorrow, and I have to sort through a bunch of stuff.
So we'll do it next week.
Yeah.
So in that case, tune in Wednesday next week for the makeup show for last week. So that means you're gonna get 3 shows this next coming week. So you guys are well, I mean it's our fault for missing, but you guys are still gonna get the content because we will not deprive you. Anyways, we love you guys. Thank you very much to Mike
Thursday,
Smith.
though. I'll tell you about that later, Dead Man.
Okay. Thank you to Danny. Thank you to Mike fucking Smith and Lofus. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys very, very much. We'll see you next week. Or we'll see you Sunday. Sunday. Fuck you.
Do you love monsters?